Hey everyone, thanks for joining me today. The fragrances in today's lineup are quintessential fall for me. They represent a category of scents that I associate or emotions that I associate with the fall. It's really hard to do these kinds of lineups because inevitably there are about 50 other fragrances that you know probably belong in the video, but you can't make the video that long. I mean, we could do an 8-hour marathon video one day, but I doubt anyone would watch that. So I've narrowed it down to just a few handfuls. Let me start off with lipstick of the day as I did in the previous video. This is from MAC's Maximal Matte Lipstick lineup. The color is Sweet Deal, and it's sort of this plummy, really dark, deep rosy color. In fact, I think it's lighter in the bullet than on my lips. I did put on a fairly dark lip liner, which is number 106 A-list from Tom Ford. So that color is down first with the lipstick then on top, which you see is actually a little bit lighter. But anyway, it gave me a bit of a more vampy look than I was going for. My fault because I chose a dark lip liner. Before we get into the fragrances of today, I have a question for you because I am in nesting and cooking mode here at my house. We've got a lasagna ready to go for later this afternoon. My son has his friends over to the house, so I'm feeding like a small army of very hungry kids, my husband and myself. So it's a lasagna and garlic bread kind of night. I wanted to ask, what are the dishes that you associate with fall? And I have a challenge. Don't put any desserts down below because those are easy. We can think of all the pies and the cakes and the cookies and the pastries and all the just the yummy desserts that we associate with fall. That's easy. I'd love to know about your entree dishes. Like if you were cooking dinner and you wanted to do a quintessential fall dish, what would you select? Yesterday, my son had a different set of friends over to the house and I made homemade meatloaf. I made mac and cheese from scratch and I make an amazing mac and cheese. It takes me quite a bit of time to do all of the ingredients for an at home from scratch fresh mac and cheese dish and then a side of asparagus, which maybe isn't associated with fall, but it was a hearty delicious meal. So yeah, lasagna and garlic bread tonight from scratch again. Let me know what your favorite hearty fall dishes are because I want to experiment a little bit this fall and cook some new things. So let me start off with maybe the most obvious category. We tend to think of fall spices when we think about fall fragrances. By that, I mean cinnamon, nutmeg, cardamom, any kind of spice that you might use in perhaps a pumpkin pie, an apple pie, something like that. So I'm going to talk about one that's typically associated with the winter holidays like Thanksgiving and Christmas, but I'm actually moving up to fall wear, and that is from Xerjoff. It is called Starlight. So I love the name of that. This one got a lot of hype for the bottle when it first came out, which I don't understand. I mean, it's just a regular Xerjoff bottle with some nice X's on it. It's pretty, don't get me wrong, but to me, that's not the what's important about the fragrance. The color of the fragrance gives you a sense of what the stars of the show are here. This one has a pretty pronounced cardamom note. It is not a bomb of a cardamom fragrance, meaning sometimes fall spices can overwhelm a fragrance composition. Like you can have too much cardamom. You can have too much of any fall related scent in a fragrance that kind of overwhelms the composition. I love in this one that while you can definitely pick up the cardamom, it is not overwhelming. It stays sort of light, like a sprinkling of cardamom fairy dust in the fragrance versus sort of heavy, overwhelming cardamom. There's also an almond accord in the fragrance that I think adds a gentleness and maybe even a creaminess. And the base is primarily amber for me. There's cedarwood and amber in the base. The amber is more pronounced to me than anything that's woody. Maybe you get a little bit of woodiness, but overall, it is cardamom sprinkle with a little bit of almond and a warmth from that amber. It's not a particularly overwhelming scent, which I think makes it great here in September into October. Certainly, absolutely wearable all winter long, but it stays on the more gentle side of those kinds of spicy fragrances, which I think makes it perfect for this time of year. And at no point does it overwhelm, which I think is wonderful. There is cinnamon in the fragrance as well, according to the website. I can't tell you that I pick up a whole lot of cinnamon. I feel like the cardamom is more pronounced. Maybe there's a little bit of cinnamon sort of accompanying the other notes, but cardamom, almond, amber are the star players in here for me. So then, in the category of floral spicy, I'm absolutely making up all of these categories for the purposes of the video, is my absolute favorite Bond number 9. I wish that this came in a bottle that maybe had colors like what I'm wearing, like the lip color and or the shirt color versus what it's in because it gives the impression that this is a spring fragrance and for me this is I very much associate this with fall. I mean, I've worn it in the spring. Of course, I've worn this year round, but this is a late fall into winter fragrance for me. This is Chinatown and it's got the two different looks on the bottle which I don't necessarily care for. Like I said, I think this should be in an amber colored bottle at the very least. The main players in here for me are soft florals. This has something in the neighborhood of an incense note that isn't listed on the site at all, but that my nose picks up. And then there's cardamom, which adds a little bit of the spiciness. I also detect some sandalwood and perhaps other woody notes. According to the website, the notes here are peach blossoms, gardenia, tuberose, patchouli, and cardamom. Like I told you, it is floral, warm white floral. There's such a warmth and beauty to this. Very sort of elegant, feminine, beautiful adult hug in a bottle, like a very sort of voluptuous hug in a bottle with the spiciness from the cardamom. And for me, something woody, sandalwoody in the base. I don't really pick up patchouli in this fragrance, at least not distinctly. And I have such great memories of this fragrance. I've talked about this in previous videos. This is one that I discovered walking around New York City with a friend of mine. We went into a store, tried a bunch of Bond number nines, and this one really stood out to me. And I wore it out of the store and just was living my best life in cool, fresh, crisp New York City air. I thought I was super cute. And ever since I have associated that feeling with this fragrance, I've had it for many years, will have it for many years to come. It's part of my top 10, very long lasting. And I would even dare say that this is sexy. It gets many, many compliments when I wear it from everyone in my house. And if I wear it out, I typically get compliments on this as well. Beautiful projection, incredible longevity, and a wonderful, fancy, floral, spicy fragrance for those of you that like a more bold scent in the fall. Beautiful. Then in the category of fragrances that remind you of a cozy, warm coffee shop or maybe brewing your coffee at home and going to like a comfortable chair to read your favorite book. You know, the kind of day where you have a big fluffy blanket, maybe it's a faux fur blanket, and you've got your cozy pajamas on, you're fresh and clean, and you just want to cuddle up. I don't know why I felt the need to say fresh and clean. Every time I say pajamas, I just want to make clear to people that sometimes people associate pajamas with like you need to go take a shower because you've slept in them all night. So I just want to clarify you're clean in your cozy pajamas and you've got a big, fuzzy, fluffy blanket in a corner, or you have that same kind of feeling in a coffee shop. I don't have a full bottle of this, but I'm strongly considering getting one. This is from the company called Dyad Candle Company. It's one of these sort of hidden gem fragrances. I only have a little travel and it's called Rise and Shine. Well, I guess you'd call this a decant, not a travel. But the name alone gives you a sense of what this smells like. Let me say also that this is on the affordable side. You get what appears to be something like a 1.7 ounce for $65. In today's fragrance market, that's a steal, and that's new, not used. Not secondhand, not on the gray market, nothing, straight off of the website. They describe it as feeling like, and this is perfect and it's true, a lazy weekend morning enjoying a fresh, warm slice of sweet cinnamon coffee cake with a creamy latte chaser. The top notes are toasted almond, cardamom, cinnamon streusel. In the middle, it's cafe au lait and pastry cream. And in the base, vanilla bean, sandalwood, sheer musk, and amber. I mean, if that is not a dream of a fragrance right there for those of you that love the cozy fall gourmand, but this one is a subdued and sophisticated compared to I think some of the more overt gourmands and one that I'm going to talk about in a second. But it's so delightful and easygoing. For me, this is a little bit on the drier side, so I don't get a whole lot of sort of creaminess from it. It's like dry spices, the sandalwood, but those other notes that are intended to lend a little bit of creaminess, perhaps that pastry cream, that cafe au lait, sort of balance it out so it doesn't get too dry. Like a fragrance that I'm going to talk about coming up is much more on the drier side. And it's just the perfect amount of fall spice and everything nice and gives you such a coffee shop feel. Not a serious fragrance, but a little bit more elevated, if you will, than some of your fall gourmands. And gosh, affordable and from a gem of a little company. So you can get that online. I will link this below along with all of the other fragrances here if you're interested in trying any of these out. Then I'm actually late to the game on this one. I don't have a full bottle, but I'm finally considering maybe picking one up. It's like that with me. Sometimes I will allow fragrances to have the hype and maybe die down a bit and see if I'm still interested. And then other times I just fall right into the immediate hype of a release. This is one that was kind of a slow burn. If you are a gourmand person, one of my favorite gourmands that really embody this time of year, and I'll explain why in a second, is Cirque du Soleil. First of all, the bottle is quite interesting on this. I like a quirky or different or interesting bottle that isn't gaudy. And it's hard for fragrances that look like this in this bottle to not be gaudy. This one isn't. I think it's a really elegant look. The packaging for this is really beautiful. That aside, because you're not wearing the package around, this fragrance, the opening of it is the most beautiful part to me. And is so if you like gourmand notes that you associate with fall, this is one to get your nose on. It reminds me very much of fall state fairs. So here in the state of Virginia, as we get late into the summer, into early fall, we have the state fair. I haven't gone in many years, but I have gone in the past. It's also the time where traveling carnivals will set up shop in parking lots here, there, and everywhere. So I live close to a space where one of the traveling carnivals will set up their fall fair. They come in the spring too, but I think about them in fall. And while I don't typically ride those rides from carnivals, because I don't trust them, like I'd rather go to the amusement park with the tried, true, and tested stationary rides. I do like to walk around a fall fair or fall carnival and smell the delicious gourmand foods. And so we're talking about funnel cake and candy apples and kettle corn and all of the yummy fall desserts. So I associate this fragrance with that. The opening has cotton candy. It's got buttery popcorn. It even has an apple note that I just think nails it. So you get that for a while, and then the fragrance sort of calms down into this overall lovely vanilla scent, which I think is also nice. The opening of it is the part that's the most attractive to me. That's maybe one of the reasons that I have hesitated on purchasing it as well. But I feel like this is a quintessential fall gourmand scent that captures all of the beauty, the wonder, the fun, the playfulness of that feeling in the air when you first walk into a carnival. Or here we have Busch Gardens that's an hour away. I haven't done Hollow Scream. Do you have that? If you have a Busch Gardens near you, Hollow Scream, where in the fall they decorate the entire park with fall pumpkins and they turn some of the attractions and things, well, other fall decorations too, not just pumpkins, but they turn some of the attractions into like haunted houses and things. I haven't done it, but I wanted to do it. And why did I bring that up? Because I probably would smell some of these scents at that kind of thing as well. So it's reminiscent of that. I'm also an enormous fan of the Cirque du Soleil franchise, but only the ongoing permanent shows. I haven't really enjoyed the traveling shows. Like I've done the Avatar show, and I'm forgetting a couple of others. There was one that was here in Richmond last year that was like a Christmas spectacular, and it was a flop for me. I thought it was not good quality. But listen, if you've had the chance to go to Vegas and see any of the Cirque du Soleil shows, I love the association of that scent and this bottle with those shows. So some of my favorite shows in Vegas are O, which is a water-based Cirque du Soleil show. I saw Ka, which is this fabulous Asian-inspired, like mythical show that has a stage that pops up and people are running up and down this. You got to see it. Like go look at YouTube videos of the show Ka. And for some reason, I'm not remembering the name of the third show that I really love. I wanna see the Michael Jackson one, I wanna see the New York City one. I don't think I wanna see the Beatles one. I'm not as interested in that. If you've seen the Beatles one, let me know down below if it's worth checking out. Like, I wanna go back to Vegas just to see the amazing Cirque du Soleil shows. I digress. Sorry about the bird walk into Cirque du Soleil territory. Let's move on. Next up, I had to get a fruity, deep cherry fragrance into this lineup. Originally, I had Lost Cherry in here because y'all know I love me some Tom Ford Lost Cherry. I got Duquesa too. We're going to talk about her and Sedan in upcoming videos. But let me introduce you to a fragrance that I don't think has gotten the love that it really deserves here on YouTube. Fragrance videos, anyway. I don't know if it's being talked about on TikTok. I don't get on there and I'm not on Instagram anymore. So this one, it's my scent of the day, and I absolutely adore this. I find it to be very addictive. This is called Q Parfum from Dolce& and Gabbana. So you may remember a number of videos back, I mentioned that I had gone to Orlando and went to all of the theme parks there. And I was at Epcot, went into the Dolce& and Gabbana store in the Italy pavilion and tried this on. And my son loved it on me. I kept sniffing it walking around the park. It had great presence and projection and was just so warm and inviting and beautiful that I had to check out a bottle of it. And so this is my scent of the day. It is so warm, inviting, and quite sensual, if you ask me. This features they call it a succulent candy cherry note at the opening. And you absolutely get that in the opening and through the mid, if you ask me. Later in the dry down, it kind of calms down. But when you first spray and probably a few hours into the wear, you experience this that's right, a candied, warm, almost sugary cherry that is also perfumey. Like it's like an interpretive cherry, interpreted. It's an interpretation of a cherry note while also being realistic. It makes your mouth water. It's almost like cherry candy, which I love. Cherry's an interesting note because it can be a little medicinal for people. It can come off quite harsh and synthetic in other fragrances. And then in some others, especially if it's paired with like deep woody notes, it can be really intense and overwhelming. I think this is just such a beautiful balance. The heart of the fragrance is jasmine and the base is vanilla. The jasmine and the vanilla are just absolutely exquisitely done. I do appreciate that the cherry lasts longer than just the opening. You get it through the opening and like I said, several hours into the wear, but the entire experience of this is so warm, inviting, elegant, and sensual. And it never becomes overpowering, cloying, never overwhelming, nothing like that. It just is beautiful. It held its own in that crazy Florida heat in July, too. Like it kept going, it kept trucking for hours. And so, here in the more fall weather, today is maybe like late 60s, low 70s. It is perfect for this time of year. And I think will play well in the winter as well. Oh, and I just love that the actual bottle is this beautiful cherry color with the fun, kitschy crown top on it. So that is the Parfum version of Q from Dolce& and Gabbana. So then thinking about fall pastries and cookies and all of that, I mean, we have heard about this fragrance before, got a bunch of hype maybe a whole calendar year ago. So not this past Christmas, but the Christmas before that, if I'm not mistaken, when it came back on the market and it sells out every time. I don't know the status of it now. Again, I'll check and put everything down below. But this is Ginger Biscuit from Joe Malone. People were going crazy trying to find this a couple of holiday seasons ago. This is a fall cookie in a bottle. People also associate this with Christmas cookies. I can see it being both. In fact, I featured it in Christmas videos. The bow's a little kitschy and maybe unnecessary, but what a delightful little scent. It definitely smells like a ginger cookie that's been sprinkled with fall spices. Oh my gosh, y'all. I'm looking on the Joe Malone website and I was looking for the notes for this, and it said a very merry collection is coming soon. To be first to hear about it, sign up for updates and follow us on Instagram and TikTok. I'm not following them, but I will sign up for the updates because I'm curious to see what's coming up. So, this is Joe Malone's scent of the season. It's spiced with ginger, nutmeg, and cinnamon, butter crumbly with roasted hazelnuts, and the warmth of tonka bean and vanilla. A delicious scent for you and your home this Christmas. So, yes, this is absolutely like a winter holiday, fun candle in a fragrance kind of scent. But I think it's also lovely for the fall, particularly because it is so light in texture and longevity. This isn't a super duper long lasting fragrance. My opinion, my experience, 4 to 6 hours at the most if it has deepened up on your shelf. It's similar to the Rise and Shine fragrance that I mentioned from Dyad, except this one is a little bit drier, the Rise and Shine, whereas, and maybe more woody, whereas Ginger Biscuit does have a more sort of cookie foundation to it. Not super deep in that direction. So if you're looking for sticky, ooey gooey gourmand, this isn't it. This is a more playful, fun, light, airy ginger cookie kind of fragrance. A cutie. This is a cutie of a perfume. So, for those of you that are into the more woody, mysterious scents, this one isn't quite in super heavy territory yet. It stays into maybe late summer, fall ish kind of range. We're not super into deep, heavy, thunderous kinds of woody fragrances. This one is more polite. A little more subdued. This is the librarian of woody fragrances with polite manners. If you have watched Project Runway, this is the Tim Gunn. The Tim Gunn of spicy, woody fragrances. Very polite, well mannered, put together, structured, make it work. This is Kalahari from Noeme in these interesting bottles with these tops here that have some meaning. We won't get into all of that. So, the description on the website calls this woody, ambery, and spicy. It's inspired by the vastness and purity of the desert. Sure, I get that. However, if you didn't know that, you could certainly associate this with beautiful fall or early winter fragrances. The notes here at the top bergamot, saffron, cardamom. In the middle, amber, labdanum, cedar. In the base, incense, cashmere wood, and musk. This one is the dry one that I was talking about. So when you think about woody fragrances, if they're accompanied by amber and vanilla and other notes of that nature, they can feel dense and creamy. This one doesn't have any of that. It is woody, it's dry, it's spicy, it's mysterious. I'm going to say this for those of you that like very let me put my mouth and my brain on. For those of you that like heavily feminine scents, you won't enjoy this. Those of you that enjoy unisex scents or maybe scents that are slightly masculine, like that doesn't bother you, I find this to be very unisex with a couple of toes in masculine territory. And sometimes those are the most alluring fragrances on women. They really are. Like people love to smell this kind of fragrance on a lady. Here, I feel like the stars of the show are the cardamom, the cedar, perhaps a little bit of incense, and the cashmere wood. I find this to be like woody, spicy luxe, very luxe scent. Like I said, Tim Gunn. Tim Gunn does a fall scent. Here you go. Kalahari. Is that the man's name or is it Peter Gunn? Isn't Peter Gunn from that Atlanta show? That's a different person. We're not talking about Peter Gunn. Isn't he Guns? Anyway, Tim Gunn, Project Runway. Structured suit, crisp, clean lines, incredibly well mannered. This is a pedigreed fragrance. This one comes from a lineage of polite families. So that's Kalahari by Noeme. Moving along, one of the most addictive, intoxicating fragrances in my collection, and not in a sexy way, not sensual. It is more of just like this luxurious warmth that I want to dive into, like a cocoon that's calling me back home to something just warm and loving, all accepting. This is from Ranya J. It's Musk Moschus. Listen, I would forsake many, many fragrances in my collection just to keep this one. Like if I had to choose one among my warm musks, it might be this one. I don't know. I'm sure there's a few others that would compete, but this is super beautiful. I describe this as vanillic, musky, slightly citrusy, little hint of fruit, but mostly just all encompassing, loving, cocooning warmth in a bottle. This is your hug in a bottle musk fragrance for the fall. The notes here, there are fruity notes at the top, bergamot, strawberry, black currant. I mean, there's a little touch of fruitiness, but it's not pronounced to me. Sandalwood and iris, vanilla, cashmere, and white musks. It definitely has the texture of cashmere as a smell, which is fantastic and so warm, inviting. I don't know, you guys, this is just one of the most beautiful, soft, gentle cocooning musks I've ever smelled. It was love at first sniff. Every time I wear this, I feel amazing. I'm just like never not in the mood for this, even though I'm putting it here in the fall video. Absolutely a year round kind of scent. It's a morning scent, it's a lunchtime scent, it's a dinner scent, it's a bedtime scent. It's everything. Maybe not like a full on sunny day scent, but definitely any other kind of weather you can associate with this. I wouldn't hesitate to pull for this on a rainy, brooding day where you just wanted some comfort and warmth. I wouldn't hesitate to wear this to work. It's inoffensive, it's never like super duper loud. It's just the right amount of inviting projection and warmth. I wouldn't hesitate to wear this to date night. I wouldn't hesitate to wear this to just about anything. It is beauty in a bottle. So amazing and warm and just fantastic. If that sounds good to you, go on and get yourself the big bottle of this. I mean, I'm just kidding. Always try something out if you're worried or hesitant. However, if you're adventurous and you don't mind blind buying and you typically like the things that you blind buy, this is one that is full bottle worthy, hands down. I stand on this one. Then, your cozy sweater weather fragrance. Some of the ones I've mentioned definitely go into that category, but there's no denying that beautiful commodity milk is a stunner for that category. I have the Milk Bold as well, which is my favorite of the two, although this one is so lovely also. So, this is everything you could want and need for the season if you are a marshmallow lover. Definitely has a pronounced marshmallow note. It's a rather milky fragrance, as the name would imply. The Milk Bold, and that one has a more sort of gold, bronzy lettering on it, just to tell the difference. The regular commodity milk is white, and there's also a personal version that I don't have. So I have this one, which is the middle version. I forget the name of it. Expressive. That's what this middle version is called. So you're supposed to be able to smell this in the room when you walk in. The bold is supposed to be even more projecting, longer lasting, all of that. So, and then the personal one is supposed to be just an intimate scent bubble. So this one is marshmallow, milky. There's a little bit of sweetness to it. This does have a woodiness in the base that I think throws some people off, especially if they're not interested in woody notes. I think it's beautiful. It adds some base to this. This one is airier, frothier, fluffier than the Milk Bold, which is to me more creamy. I love them both. I think they're beautiful and pretty long lasting and just like super appealing, super appealing. Even non gourmand lovers, I think, enjoy this in the air because there's just something fun and inviting about the fragrance. Moving along to a classy vanilla, that category, I absolutely adore Akro's Glow. I ended up purchasing a small bottle. You might remember that the bottle for the small one, it just looks super miniature. It's like almost frighteningly tiny, even though it's a 30 ml. And you're like, oh my gosh, it looks like a little baby bottle. So I ended up upgrading to the bigger bottle when this one became available because it had sold out originally. Many have said that this smells like Spiritus Double Vanille from Guerlain. It's been a long time since I've smelled that, so I can neither confirm nor deny that. But this is warm, peppery, elegant. There's a little incense in the fragrance. There's also a rose note that I don't think I really pick up distinctly. It smells like an edited, restrained vanilla. I could see someone with a lot of class and presence wearing this. Like the name that immediately comes to mind is someone like Sade, the singer. If you think about how her voice is just so silky smooth and like always appropriate, always elegant, always right in tune, right in pitch. It's just like silky smooth audio waves in the air. This is similar except in fragrance form and it's vanilla. Not a foodie vanilla in any way. You know what this is reminding me of as I'm sniffing it here? It's giving me slight touches of Angel Dust by Fugazi, if you've tried that one, except warmer, more elegant, and I love Angel Dust as well. Not quite as peppery as that fragrance. The pepper in here is very subdued, just enough to add some spiciness, some intrigue, some depth, along with that slightly incensey note. It's just fantastic. So I love Acro Glow. This is also another one that's long lasting, fairly projecting without being obnoxious at all, and just leaves this trail of absolute sophistication. One of my fave vanillas in my collection. So then we can't talk about quintessential fall without talking about at least a tobacco fragrance. This one happens to be a triple hitter or triple header if you want to think about like a sports analogy. It's got amber, tobacco, and vanilla in just the most harmonious composition. My favorite tobacco in my collection to the point where I have forsaken others. I have sold off many other tobacco fragrances. I still have a small handful, but this is my number one recommendation in that category. It's Daniel Josier Ambre Tabac, one that doesn't get the amount of love that it absolutely deserves and is probably in masterpiece status. This is deeper, much more sort of sticky in nature. It has tremendous base and depth, but it's such a warm, all encompassing composition. You get sort of this wet, earthy tobacco, this beautiful vanilla and amber playing in the base. It's golden, it's warm, it's fall. It's tobacco lounge with a feminine edge. Gentlemen absolutely can wear this off. It's actually rather unisex, like right in the middle, but it's got enough feminine edges to it that I think can be pulled off by ladies. This also is in the family. I'm just kind of getting an association here of Clive Christian's Blonde Amber. Stay with me because that one is super spicy and boozy. If you tone down those aspects and just thought about the ambery nature of Blonde Amber, added some more tobacco, like amped up tobacco and vanilla, this might smell like that. This is my favorite one. It is intoxicating. I never regret wearing this. I always feel like a superstar when I put this on, and I know that I smell amazing, rich, deep, opulent, all of the things, all of the things. It's like the most glammed up cigar lounge with feminine edges, if you can imagine that. Love this. So then sticking in that same direction, if you are one of those fans of something like Angel Share or Oajan or Cult at Night, all of those fragrances that are really deep and ambery and cinnamony and boozy and sexy. I've shared this once in a video before, and I really like it as sort of a lighter play on those fragrances. Like you like those, but you want maybe a lighter version that isn't quite as imposing and sticking with you all day long, because all of those fragrances are like forever fragrances, right? This is Calle Ocho from Fulton and Roark. The company sent this over to me to try out, and I really quite liked it. And so I have kept this and love that it offers a bit of a more restrained version of those. In fact, on this try, which is probably my third or fourth try of this, I'm picking up more of the citrusy notes than I did in the beginning. Let me give you the description from the website. It begins with multifaceted notes of fine aged rum, the swirling combination of woody amber, oak wood, and bourbon like vanilla, creamy sandalwood, a hint of orange rind, maybe that's what I'm picking up, and rich aromatic tobacco leaf spiced with cinnamon. Gives this scent a lavish appeal. Top notes are cinnamon, rum, and bitter chocolate. The mid is night blooming jasmine, which tends to be this deeper, more rich, almost like thick smelling, amazing jasmine scent, labdanum, and tobacco leaf. And in the base, tonka bean, sandalwood, and musk. This is really quite glorious. Imagine angel share subdued with an added sort of orangey touch. In fact, I recently tried angel share on the rocks, which I found the opening of that to be really fantastic because it's like angel share plus this amazing orangey, like orange juice kind of note, or orange accord, citrus accord. And I really like that part of it. I feel like maybe this scratches the itch of the beginning of that fragrance. I ended up only keeping the travel spray of angel share on the rocks because as it dried down, it got a little bit masculine on me. I don't feel like this one does that. So I feel like this one, Calle Ocho, hits all of the itch, scratches all of the itch that you would want from something like an angel share. Plus, it stays a little bit on the lighter side, and now I'm getting that infusion of the orange, what is it, orange rind in there, or just something citrusy, and I quite like it. I find this incredibly unisex as well. So this to me fills the category of boozy sexy for fall. That's the category I would associate with this one. Finally, we need a date night fragrance for fall. So many that I could put in this category, including a lot of the ones that I've talked about. Like certainly Chinatown would be a fantastic fall date night fragrance, as would the ones I just talked about, that Ambre TABAC or the Calle Ocho from Fulton and Roark. But let me go with one that maybe is unusual for this category, but it's got depth and body yaddy yaddy that I think is fantastic for cooler fall nights and date night. And that's the gorgeous Flower Bomb Extreme. So primary notes here, vanilla. This is vanilla as a base, which I think is fantastic. Raspberry, that's mostly in the top. There's a little bit of fruitiness that comes through in the top. I don't feel like it's a huge primary player, but I feel like it adds this really playful feminine edge at the top. Rose, Absolute, Freesia, and Patchouli are the key notes. This is a floral ambery fragrance. It's the vanilla addition here and the combination of that with the patchouli in the base and some of the original Flower Bomb heavy bombastic floral DNA that I think is just so beautiful, very feminine, very alluring, very adult. This is, adults only evening. Leave the kids at home. Leave the kids home. You want to have a sexy evening and you want to show off with this beautiful, feminine, come hither, sniff my neck kind of scent. Very playful, very feminine. It's giving like 90s Victoria's Secret bombshell kinds of scents meets original Flower Bomb with a little hint of sexy patchouli in the base. It's quite fantastic, and it's a powerhouse of a fragrance and lasts very long. The people that have tried this and love it really love it. I haven't really heard of many people who are Flower Bomb fans, because you either are or you're not. If you are a Flower Bomb fan, you've tended to like this. So this has been a big hit, and I just love this cute little pink bottle. I think it's so pretty. So those are my all things fall, my fall in a capsule kind of scent. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this selection. How did I do? Did I hit all the right categories? What other categories would you add to this list? And what other scents do you think belong here? Coming up next is going to be my bold fall fragrance scents. So we're not quite into winter territory yet. I mean, they could be used for winter too, but for the sake of a video here this fall, we're gonna put those in a fall bold category. So those of you that like them loud and proud and deep and strong, I got you covered. That'll be coming up next after this video. Take care, friends.